Season 1, Jeff, Barracuda, and the North American Sweethearts bring it home under the banner of Cognitive Pride.
No one thought had a chance at the finals coming into this event. Coming as the number 2 seed. I'm down, ripping through, Titan, down, falls 3, a double kill for himself. It's a 5-man run. They're going to go for the win.
The world champions, Cognitive Pride, GG!
Season 2, we say hello to Europe as Adapting and Epsilon Esports slam it home.
A huge play. Adapting's about to go up. He's going to come crashing down. Who's the target? It's going to be all 3, and 2 will get stunned out.
Oh, no.
He's taking tons of damage.
Oh, no.
Chaos forced to move forward.
They don't have enough time for this. They don't have enough time for this.
No, it's a deicide. Ladies and gentlemen, Epsilon Esports.
Season 3, new name, same roster. 2-time world champions, Rapper and NRG.
Well, there's 4 members left, and into the sky goes Adapting. The ultimate's weighing down. The Titan is under siege. Energy are looking to be world champions again. Long live the King! And once again, the King is Europe.
Season 4, Polar Bear Mike brings it back for America. E-United slams the hammer.
Cracking and knocked back. There's Deathwalker controlling things. Panicat takes that Wlfy. Where's the remainder of the team fight?
Deathwalker falls to Benadu, and E-United keeps on going because Panicat
That's 2! Still pushing forward. They're at the Titan. Only 2 members to play defense.
They can't do it!
And that's the game. That's the series. That is your Smite World Championship. Say hello to your North American victors, Polar Bear Mike and E-United.
Season 5, new map, new players, new teams, same destination. Who raises Thor's hammer? The Smite Pro League. Wake up! It's September. Thanks for joining us here in our second week of the fall split here at the Smite Pro League. My name's Tom Battinger. This is Anatoly Alexeyanok. And as we get into the business, we've got 3 European matches on the docket today.
First, we're going to start off with RivaL against Dignitas. Should be a real big powerhouse matchup. When you think of these 2 names, you think of the finals, honestly. And that was the finals of the Spring LAN finals.
Yeah, Dignitas was able to take the victory and leave RivaL kind of asking questions earlier this year. And then in the summer split, well, Dignitas weren't even able to get there. RivaL are your summer champions. And now, as we look towards the fall, anything can happen for these pro players playing on the battleground of the gods, but anything can happen for the players playing at home just like you guys. Gems on sale, 35% off right now. And as you can take a look at the graphic, that's Bologna being lifted up by Pele on the right and Baron Samedi on the left. And then right in the middle, there's Chernobog.
You can't really confuse that graphic, especially with that perfect explanation. Good job, F-Dot.
Thanks, man. Big fan of what Enna's able to do. You can always notice.
That kind of looks like Enna, actually, the Pele that she drew.
Well, you can always tell her style without a doubt. Yeah. So that one, do you really think it looks like Enna?
A little bit, like a small hint.
We'll have to take we'll have to take a second look. But there's an HRX promo as well. It's going to be the 16th through the 18th. Does this look like anybody to you?
No, not really. We got the Smite World Championship, Console World Championship. Paladin's going to be there as well.
You kind of look like the Paladins logo.
No.
No, you don't.
You look more like the Console Wars.
I'm down, but you look like the Paladins World Championship logo, I think. You don't think so?
It's nice and stoic.
Yep. Well, Smite's there. Paladins is there. A number of other games are going to be there as well because we're at DreamHack, hi-rezexpo.com. Get your tickets, and whatever logo you look like, you're invited. Want to keep your eyes open for that after party as well. That might be where the party's at, but either way, right now, today, quite a different schedule. 3 European matches, starting off with Dignitas taking on Team RivaL. Later on, we'll go over to Obey and Energy. I think I'm calling that one. And then Mouse versus SK, the battle of the bottom. Although those 2 teams, historically 5th and 6th place, they have been looking a little bit better towards the end of the summer split and here in the beginning of the summer or the fall split. So we'll keep an eye on those teams as they try to climb their way up, because right now things look different, and it's energy And on the bot, am I reading this correctly?
No, you are absolutely correct here, Tom.
Energy
could not make it happen that last week when they lost to both Dignitas and RivaL. Now, to be fair, if there's ever two teams to pick out of that list to lose to, it better be those teams and no one else, because there's still going to be that comeback potential. We're still in the first half of the split. The rematches haven't happened quite yet.
And we'll keep an eye on how everything sort of ladles themselves out. Right now, Dignitas on top of the world, as they and their fans kind of think. I think there's a lot of Dignitas fans that are saying this is where Dig belongs.
Yes.
You know, missing the LAN last split was kind of a fluke, a mistake, a hazard. But here, when we only take the top two, you know, RivaL and Energy and Dignitas, one of them's got to stay home, and it was Dig.
True. And in the spring, it was Energy that stayed home, and then they won in the summer completely, just surprising everyone, being able to bounce back with such a furious fire.
Yeah, RivaL had some problems during the summer split, or rather the summer LAN, unable to travel with their true coach, Alpha Jackal. They had Cover Tactician, I think, was there, but certainly didn't bring the presence that AJ normally does. But earlier this week, we got a chance to catch up with the Postman. Let's talk to Alpha Jackal.
All right, I'm standing by here with Alpha Jackal, coach for Team RivaL, about to head into their matchup up against Dignitas. Going to be a real big matchup. But I got to ask you about, if you can go back to week one with me here, I mean, just how's the team feeling? Because you all looked so dominant against Energy, but then the setup against Obey, I think, kind of caught us all a bit by surprise.
The mood was absolutely ecstatic after the Energy set, and midway through the Obey set, particularly during the middle of Game 2, we were still feeling quite confident. We knew that if we got to the later stages of the game, 35 minutes plus, that we had an insane late game team comp that we could win out. Then a mistake was made when we tried to push for the end. Deathwalker was still defending over on the right-hand side. So there were two options which we could have done. We could have had Death teleport into that fight and help us with a bit more DPS, or just get the Phoenix back off and set up the Fire Giant, because, well, Vote was just about to reach full build on his Nuar, which Nuar late game is fantastic. And then after that, Game 3 just wasn't something we really want to try and recall that often.
Sure. Well, you don't have to reveal too much here with me, but do you think the op watch is that strong, or were there kind of a lot of elements in that game, and it wasn't just like the mid op watch thing?
I think that op watch is strong given the right draft, especially when there's nobody on the enemy team who can really fully punish it. The Athena pick really helped the Alpha survive along with the Shell, and that when we had that Raven in the jungle, we really couldn't dive onto it as often as we wanted to and punish it in the early game, which meant that it got a free early game and managed to stay safe towards the mid game where he performs very well.
All right, well, let me ask you about this Dignitas matchup then, because Dignitas is looking really strong right now. You all looked great up against Energy, and even were close in the Obey set, too, because that went 3 games. How are you all feeling about this Dignitas matchup, and are you all confident going into that one?
We're always feeling confident. We have an idea about what they are going to be bringing out. We hope that the week of practice that we have had has helped us adapt to what we think they're going to be bringing, and hopefully we can get a quick 2-0, if not a 2-1.
I absolutely want to see y'all get that win. Okay, while I still have you here, I do want to ask you just real quick, do you feel like the Summerland would have been different if you could have been there for that one?
In my honest opinion, I think that if I was there, we would have taken some games off Energy, but the end result of Energy winning the LAN would not have changed.
I got you, man. Well, obviously, it's always great to talk to you. You're such a great mind here in the scene. I love getting to hear from you. Good luck in your matchups here up against Dignitas.
Thank you very much.
Special delivery there from Alpha Jackal and John Finch. Nice interview, and a little bit of humble pie as well, as he says, I think we still would have lost if I was there. I don't know. Real talk, I think Alpha Jackal does bring a hell of a lot to this RivaL squad. And so I think what it comes down to is, sure, picks and bans are one thing, but also just having that guy to calm you down and have an outside thought process, I think, very important for Team RivaL and any team. So as we get to picks and bans for game number 1, Toli, what's on your mind?
I definitely agree that it would have probably found a game or two, but I think at the end of the day, Energy showed up to that lane. I don't think anyone was stopping them unless you're like Superman or like a speeding train at that point. And don't give me that look, Thomas. I can't handle it.
I'm just saying, Superman or a speeding train. One or the other, that's it. Yeah. Those are the only things that could have helped RivaL. A speeding train or Superman.
Yeah.
Freya going to be banned out here.
Superman stops the speeding train, right?
Energy or Naja going to be banned out as well. The Athena one of the global characters. So here for RivaL, the Baron, the Chernobog. So if you're Dignitas, do you slam pick Baron or no?
These 4 bans plus the Baron are your top 5 selection, because currently this is still patch 5.15 that the teams are playing on, and more than likely it is very flexible to run Baron. You can run it mid, you can run it solo, you can run it in the support role, which we've seen. Even some teams have been experimenting, or at least players rather, in the ranked scene have been playing it in the jungle, just, you know, for a little bit of giggles and lulls. And it's with such a flexible character, you have to snap pick it.
Yeah, I mean, there is some power there, but we've seen players and teams sort of leave him at home as well. Baron not necessarily the end-all be-all, so we've seen him lose. Certainly a thought process. Sure. So Baron will be the first pick here. Sobek and Jing Wei, the tentative duo lane. Sobek has performed fantastically over there in the short side, excuse me. So solo Sobek certainly a thought process for Deathwalker.
Deathwalker very phenomenal with his blink plucks, and I think the idea was to pick the Sobek and not allow Jing Wei counterplay in the 100 position. If you're going to get plucked, if you're going to get killed, you could just agility Wei. So allow Vote to play the Jing Wei and look for more of that mid to late game focus.
Sobek also, Variety, I think, kind of debuted the tech where it was Sobek using his Charge Prey to dash into the Baron ultimate to cancel it immediately. Certainly really nice look there that Sobek has available to him as well. So a couple of counterplay options there from Team RivaL. As they pick up Raijin for their mid lane, Wlfy, the Morrigan will be the choice for Zyrhoes over there in the mid lane. They do have Serqet as well, so that double last breath, something that Team RivaL has to be aware of. And right now, the ban phase. No Odin and no Ratatasker, says RivaL, and Dignitas banning out Amaterasu. And their last ban here with the couple of choices in mind will be the Terra as they look towards the Guardian role for Team RivaL.
Zyrhoes playing the Morrigan is just so scary, honestly, especially with the addition of Bumba's mask, or any mask in reality. Just the cost effectiveness of the tier 2 version. You can get that immediately after boot and then wait until you get some penetration to finish off that item. And when you have so much movement speed between the boots and this Bumba's mask, this Morrigan becomes that much more difficult to pinpoint and isolate from the rest of the team.
Fafnir, the Guardian for RivaL. And Rama will be selected for Dignitas. And now we find out that the Artio shows up, and we don't really find out where Baron's going to go. Both Baron and Artio can swap in the Guardian, the support and the solo lane. So certainly something that everybody's got to start thinking about. And Team RivaL finishing things off with their jungler. It'll be the Baka nonsense. We've seen him a fair amount. And really what we were talking about in the global series, Taco and I, as Garn server were playing Bakasura, or playing against it rather, is that Baka does a fantastic job of being this hyper carry in the mid to late game. And he does a great job at disrupting players, but getting to that backline, or more importantly, the objectives when it's time to siege, can be problematic.
As long as you have the blink, you should be fine. I don't see a Giannis for RivaL, so it makes it more difficult for Bakasura to do that. Normally, you would want to have the portals to be able to get in and out of action, but I think that iceicebaby is comfortable enough to play this Bakasura without that safety net to still look to isolate someone. And if you can cripple Morrigan and hit her with a huge AoE cone, you're going to reveal her from the stealth and try to just eliminate her. Whether you kill her or not, the objective is to get her out of the teamfight as quickly as possible.
RivaL bringing the flavor of the month jungler, or Team Dignitas playing some of their go-to selections. The Morrigan, Serqet, these are gods that Zyrhoes and Qvo love off the charts. So who's going to win? Let us know in chat. Also, worth noting, Baron Samedi was our #1 play of the week on Esports Weekly, being able to save the Titan kill.
Yes.
Right? Both he and Opwash were able to do it last week, but Baron, I think, is the guy that's liable to repeat it. Who's going to win? We asked you before, chat. Now, we're going to ask the players themselves. Our commentators are standing by. Game 1. Ready, set, go.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Totally. Moving into Game 1, Dignitas up against Team RivaL, Finch and Hinduman here to bring you the call as these two top of Europe teams battle it out.
Well, not exactly top of Europe after week 1, but maybe with how this season's looking, it could be, but look at this aggression early on.
Trixtank already getting good poke onto Vote to get this game started off. He is on the Jing Wei, though. Remember, it feels like poke has a little bit less value against that Jing Wei. She's able to get back so quickly, but they are going to just give up on the wave and go to purple.
They should be okay, though, but keep into account, not only has he got a health potion in his inventory for this Jing Wei, he's also got a multi-potion too, which I think is pretty wise on the Hunters to look at getting, but this contest is causing him a lot more damage than he bargained for, and Trix He's going to push them back under the tower.
Wow, that's going to work well. They were able to get the wave pushed into the tower, and they're going to be able to strip away the purple buff as well, Graham. This Artio has gotten such tremendous early pressure for them. Rom with those astral arrows able to clear well, too.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're looking for in this laning phase, is the early pressure Trix going aggressive, more so than looking to clear the wave, because he can just draw the attention of the minions. And a vote and Callus too, so a bit of a trade back and forward here. Trix going in though, they're looking for more.
It's Trix at half HP, but it's Trix who's playing the aggressor. Arkkyl, level 2 already rolled in right behind him to follow up as well. This dual lane already off to a hot start. That's Arkkyl and Trixtank playing aggressive and now going back to secure their own group.
No, it's QvoFred in the jungle playing this Serqet this game, but the Baron's Brew wasn't selected. You've got to be careful with the Baron's Brew selections, because sometimes it can interfere with your build a little bit. So sometimes you may need to delay it, just like QvoFred's done in the jungle. He may end up going for it a little bit later on his next trip back to base, but don't go for the brew over making sure your core build's okay at the start of the game.
That's right. If you go with that Assassin's Blessing Mace Star, you should only have 100 gold left over, so I got one of each. And very comfortable with QvoFred with the 1 health, 1 mana. Hasn't had to use those yet. He's elected to go Blink as well, which is so common on these Assassins nowadays. They're not so much worried about the Blink or their own safety. Blink, or the beads rather, Blink opens up so many aggressive ganking opportunities.
Yeah, look at the CC that RivaL really have on the table here, Finch. Realistically, he's only going to be scared of Sobek and the Fafnir hammer, but in the early game, not so much. So we can get away with going with this Blink and trying to be aggressive towards the Bakasura. Blink's not going to... Beats isn't really going to save him against Bakasura, like maybe make him, you know, uncrippled, but that's about it.
So many options available to the Serqet in particular. Is he going to back and pick up, looks like Boots 1 with this timing. Probably not much else he could do with that goal, or Boots 2 rather, so that's pretty good. Yeah, if he's going to grab Boots 2, he's going to be feeling pretty good.
That's a normal window.
Serqet already has so many mobility tools. When you add on Blink to it, it really does feel like there's just not much you can do, because she has Death, Bane, Ambush, and now the Blink.
Oh yeah, and that base for Boots 2 is kind of standard now. You want to be level 5 and be able to fight straight away almost. You know, once you've got that level 5, look for a quick pick, maybe catch them before they hit level 5, or before they've even done the first rotation back to base and catch them basically with their pants down, not having the correct times to stay alive.
Trixtank is going to take a little bit more damage with the persistent gust, but both not in position to follow up. Ice came and dropped the purple for them, but he's not really sticking around looking for any gank attempts on this side. Without the ultimate, I feel like Bakasura's ganks aren't quite that strong at this level anyway. Or
I mean, it can be pretty... well, underwhelming, I guess is the right word for it, when Baka comes in lane and he needs the basics to really start swinging, gets a couple off in the early game, which are very strong. But your blades, obviously, true damage in the early game, definitely impactful, and gives you a bit of a window. But realistically, you want to get level 5 ASAP, and someone like Bakasura can sustain heavily in the jungle too, thanks to that 8 minion.
Right into the haste and katana as well, so he will be sticking to whoever it is that he hits, and you already highlighted the Butcher's Blades, so even if it's not a ton of power early on, he should be just chunking through whoever he goes to.
I mean, with that Fatalis effect or the haste effect from the katana too now, when you use the ultimate and regurgitate all those babies, you get the cleave attacks. And the cleave attacks, yeah, they are babies.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Little baby children. The baby children that, you know, he had in his stomach and he regurgitated. Watch this.
QvoFred's the one that's going to start the gank off. Blink in, Cobra's Kiss, and Last Breath should set up First Blood. Collis jumps away, but Arkkyl finds the shot. First Blood to Dignitas, and no way for RivaL to respond. They got to fall back.
Do you know what? There was a way for him to respond, but I think because Callus leapt away trying to save his own life, he actually brought Dignitas with him away from the gank potential of iceicebaby coming in. If anything, potentially leaping back towards the tower could have overextended Dignitas and allowed Bakasura to maybe make it a 1-for-1 at best. In the end, just a quick tumble down then for the support for RivaL.
And that's the strength of Last Breath, right? When that's on you, you don't want to jump back towards your teammates just in case that does get spread around. So like you said, because of that, he has to jump away and kills any kind of potential for follow-up. That is kind of one more thing that Serqet just brings.
Great start for Dignitas though. Look at them trying to abuse the dual lane a little bit more so earlier on. Get some wave clearing the advantage early, steal away a purple or two, keep the pressure, keeping them locked down, then have QvoFred come over and gank too. Just continuing that pressure in that dual lane, trying to get Arkkyl and Trixtank in a comfortable position.
And that's tough too, because sometimes when your dual lane has them so pushed up to tower, it can almost limit some of your gank options because there's not really a place for the junglers to go. But no problem here for QvoFred. They kind of let him into that middle of the lane a little bit. Qvo capitalizes perfectly. Zyrhoes playing aggressive in mid too. He had like 3 there nearby him around those mid camps, and he seemed undeterred, able to just kind of walk right out.
So I'm looking at the compositions from both these teams, and the mid game is pretty strong from both of them. If anything, probably favoring RivaL a little bit more, because that's where Baka will really shine, is around the mid game area, before everyone gets all their protections and survivability online a little bit more, so those second relics. But then in the late game, it kind of swings back towards Dignitas because of that Morrigan, and because we're going to see variety at the full build state on that Baron too. They're going to make a bit of an impact in this game as well. I think RivaL's kind of limited themselves here, with depending on how the early game goes, which so far is all Dig, to a mid-game we have to win situation.
QvoFred does have Cobra's Kiss. Zyrhoes was right there to follow up as well, but Deathwalker and iceice kind of turned tail. There was no more follow-up there. iceice is still nearby, even going into the jungle of Dignitas, but there's nothing to find. He'll have to come right back.
And that's a big key against playing against Bakasura. Keep your jungle on cooldown. Whether it means your jungler gets behind because everybody else keeps taking experience, it doesn't matter. Just don't let that Baka go around eating all your stuff in the jungle.
Zyrhoes does find the stun on Arkkyl. He does get controlled as well, but he's able to leap away. Bakasura regurgitate. Tycho drums is there for the follow-up, but Trixtank is a tanky bear and makes it right on out.
Yeah, the shell really helped him out there. Now Qvo goes in after the all-in from RivaL. Hammer does come out, but Wlfy's still alive for a moment.
Last breaths on top of him, and Zero find the kill, and they get the Aegis and shell. Team RivaL got to fall back one more time. Kallis in the Draconic Corruption creates some space, but Variety makes the rotation, can't find the control, and so Team RivaL get out.
Yeah, if you could have found the rapid up as he came around the corner on Kallis there, they could have potentially sucked him in with the life of the party, and that could have been another kill for them there too. Good work from Dignitas in this early stage though.
Yes.
They allowed the pressure from RivaL to come onto them. Trixtank did a very good job with his shell to weather the storm of that initial engagement from iceice, and then the turnaround was fair play as Qvo realized most of the abilities were used on the engagement.
And that's 2 different types of engagements as well, right? QvoFred in duo gets just the straight up gank with the Serqet, and this time they sort of respond. They initially catch Kallis and Zyrhoes puts in damage, but they allow the collapse when Team RivaL overcommits afterwards.
And that's a big stake now for Dignitas to be in. Although Zyrhoes' beads being used, that's a big cooldown in the mid lane. Great play from Deathwalker, just beat on this side and tried to make the rotation to support that of what was going on in the mid lane, but still finds a result. Those beads being on cooldown is a nice window now for RivaL to look to be aggressive towards Zyrhoes.
Especially with the ultimate from Zyrhoes on cooldown as well, and they should likely know that. That's a huge window where Zyrhoes going to have to play a lot safer until he has either beads or the ultimate back up. RivaL can definitely capitalize.
Taking into account as well, we mentioned the cleave attacks that iceicebaby gets on that Bakasura during the ultimate. It's very good at catching someone like a Morrigan in stealth because she wants to weave away, but if you're getting cleaved in the whole direction, well, you're going to pull her out of stealth pretty quick, and without beads and without his ultimate, Zyrhoes is going to be very, very passive for a little while.
But it's been a good job of Dignitas, I feel like, being the aggressor so far, even though it was kind of iceice who responded to their gank on Kallis and overcommitted just a little bit, and they were able to turn it around. It's been Dignitas, I feel like, who have been looking to get these fights started, trying to find any kind of small situations in the jungle where they can win. So they've been doing a good job playing with sort of this early game pressure they got.
It really is becoming any given SPL day for who can beat who right now, especially in the top 4 when I'm talking. I'm even including Obey in that list now. So Obey, RivaL, Dig, Energy, it could be any of them. Trixtank, you need some help here.
He does have that triple field down, but iceicebaby's right there behind him. A great jump in from Kallis. Sets up a nice easy kill with both. But Cobra's Kiss over the wall from QvoFred. Quite ambitious there, sir. And he's got to leave.
Tell you what, that was a little bit too close for comfort for Qvo. I thought he was going to get more damage off than he bargained for. Arkkyl even went to the sky to try and clean up some snipes there. But Trixtank just hung around too long. Like, he realized they were coming, and it was more RivaL with a great CC chain that has now opened up a window for this Gold Fury.
Yeah, Gold Fury being considered. Arkkyl is right around the corner. Astral Arrows to try and contest. But Deathwalker with a great charge prey gets the beads. Gold Fury still very low, lurking in the water dip for the secure. RivaL are able to grab it in the end, but Arkkyl finds Kallis' life, and Deathwalker will fall as well.
2 kills down then, so not really even in favor of Dignitas unless they can find something else. Red buff coming on cooldown, but QvoFred coming back from base looking for lazy backers. If he catches Wlfy at the back, Harpies!
There's a chance, ambush in, and last breath. Wlfy almost certainly dead here. He will indeed fall. 3 kills overall for Dig, and they only give up the Gold Fury, but can now QvoFred find his way out? He does have Trixtank here to help.
Now this was just greedy from RivaL, just not realizing the Dig were waiting in the wings. Vote had nothing after the dash, and now he should pay with his life. This Gold Fury is costing more to RivaL than it does to Dig, because this tier 1 tower too, Finch.
Arkkyl not only found a double kill there, but it was able to just solo push in that wave and grab the tier 1 tower. RivaL, a bit of a miscalculation here. This has favored Dignitas heavily on the back end. They might even threaten this tier 2.
Khaled's going to have to jump over the wall then to slow it down. Good hammer on Arkkyl, which prevents the basic attack damage that was really coming from him, whittling down that tier 2 tower.
And look, they already got the tier 1 in solo as well. I believe Variety was able to force that one down off Deathwalker's rotation. So really across the map, this has favored Dignitas in a rather large way. A lot of key experience going the way of Arkkyl in that duo lane in particular.
I'll tell you how that fight went overall. Wlfy was back in, and as soon as Wlfy died, he went, Qvo used his jump, he used everything on me, he's used his ult, he's got nothing. So both iceicebaby and Vo went, well, if he's got nothing, I guess we'll just go in and clean up the Serqet. But they didn't realize that whole of Dignitas was still waiting around the area, and Qvo was still at full health and was perfectly fine in that situation. So it just ended up costing RivaL even more than the loss of Wlfy.
And it was bad timing as Vote had no mana, but iceicebaby has committed the dash here to try and strip away the speed buff. Yeah. QvoFred does have to retreat, but Trixtank's here for the max range route and keeps him in range, but no follow-up there from Qvo.
Maybe Variety, though, because still in the jungle at the moment, Deathwalker's hanging around, and that cripple field's going to cause some problems for Deathwalker. Going to at least get the ultimate expended in response, but speed buff was stolen. That's the key feature there.
iceicebaby was able to come in, grab it, and leave. Red buff spawning, but with only Arkkyl here, RivaL should be able to defend this one rather easily, but that's one more thread to keep track of. Variety level 13, way out in front.
Yeah, Variety just being so strong right now, it's going to cause problems as the game continues. At the moment, his build is actually focused around power a little bit more, so obviously against Sobek in lane, you can get a bit of magical protection there. We'll see where his build continues with, though, because he's got plenty of options. It just depends how tanky they need to be.
Right.
They need him to be. And realistically, they kind of do want him a little bit tanky with their composition. I mean, Morrigan's not going to want a front line, and neither's QvoFred, but they've got tricks at least.
There's a couple of mage builds I'm following along with. Varieties, as you said, is very interesting. I also want to see what Zyrhoes does. We've seen that sort of Bumbas come out to prioritize movement speed, but make him way squishier earlier on. But right now, he's kind of chilling at that tier 2. I'm curious if he wants to go all the way in on that mask.
I really like Messenger's mask. The rank 2 of it is so good because it's 10% cooldown, 10% CDR. Sorry, 10% cooldown, 10% movement speed. Trixtank, though.
In a whole lot of trouble. Tycho drums burning through him. iceicebaby gets the last hit. Now Zero's going to fall. Thunder Crash was huge from Wlfy to set up 2 quick kills in mid. RivaL come answering back, but QvoFred doesn't want to let this go just yet. Last breath, and now has Variety for follow-up.
Yeah, Wlfy didn't have beads instead. He was using the Aegis to try and absorb some damage, but that doesn't mean he could avoid the CC, and it was the CC that helped to bring him down and make it at least a 2-for-1 across the map then. But it wasn't a good window for Dignitas there. They've got to realize quite clearly that RivaL are playing the Murder Bowl composition, group up and just push, push, push.
Yeah, and that's twice now. Trixtank has been just a little bit out of position, I feel like, and Team RivaL's been able to make the collapse happen, and you just highlighted it. That's what RivaL wants, right? They want to find someone a little bit out of position, cripple field, lock down, burn them quickly, and this team comp is very good at doing it.
Well, in the jungle, QvoFred's caught Deathwalker again, who's trying to get away, but he's got support from Khaled's and iceicebaby, and iceicebaby goes onto a killing spree now, but Deathwalker may pay with his life.
Trixtank got absolutely chunked there, or rather, they got the kill. They are able to find Deathwalker in return. It's QvoFred and Deathwalker who are both down. Trixtank, though, wants to look for a little bit more. Zyrhoes with the long-range wraparound finds the stun, and the damage coming out for Variety for one more kill. Zyrhoes is getting it done.
Already in this game, you're starting to see the RivaL just hanging around too long. Every single time, I feel like...
Oh, he was already... Yeah.
I was like, why is Qvo doing that? Oh, it's Morrigan.
Might as well,
He surprised me too. He went, haha, I'm not Serqet, I'm the Morrigan. But yeah, I mean, what we see from RivaL too much is they're just hanging around too long. They get a pick and they're like, okay, let's get an objective after that. But they go too deep for it. The blue buff, for example, on the right-hand side, respawns came through. It's still less than 40 minutes in the game. So it's going to be quick respawns, and that's kind of cost RivaL a few stages. And could cost them some on the left-hand side here.
This is huge, though. Gold Fury going to be going down for Team Dignitas because no one for RivaL is even in the area code. No one's around it at all. They're sleeping on it just a bit. Those back timers, unfortunate for Team RivaL, and Dignitas strip it away and push their gold lead out to about 3,000.
Yeah, it wasn't just the back timers. It was also the deaths as well on that right-hand side that cost him on the position. And Vote now in a duel against 2. He's got support from iceicebaby, but QvoFred comes in to Vote, who's trying to get away and survive. A great kiss
but it does mean that iceicebaby's able to find the regurgitate with those extra autos. Arkkyl makes it 1-for-1, but now where's he gonna run with the Taiko drums lurking in the waters and all the ultimates expended to find the lone Rom?
Love what Variety did there, through the heal over the wall, because if he does connect in time, then Arkkyl would get some sustain. Meanwhile, those Zyrhoes going to keep pressuring mid, get a tier 1 tower. Remember, the Gold Fury's down, so those 2-for-1 kills that we've had so far, it's still okay for Dignitas because there's nothing on the map for RivaL to get.
Now Ice is going to grab the red buff, look for the invader. Yeah, pretty hard to stop that eat minion confirm, but Trixtank and Variety are both here to try and punish. Even Zyrhoes lurking in the jungles, but iceicebaby with that extra movement speed from the Atlantas and the Hastings should be able to get out of there.
And the Atalanta's bow, just to add to that even more, some more attacks. One thing about Bakasura, you don't care too much about power, you're looking at true damage, so attack speed is the name of the game. Much attack speed as possible means you can get more basics out during your Butcher Blades, which means you're dealing more damage. So that's the sort of benefit you get from a Bakasura in that angle. It's one of the reasons why you can see those reinforced greaves that he picked up too. But there's your Butcher's Blades for you.
And iceicebaby, man, he has kept this very even in the jungle. Remember the blazing start QvoFred got off to in the dual lane gank and the fight in the jungle? Well, he's 2-2-5 now. He's slowed down quite a bit since then, but Ice has turned on the gas.
He's chosen the right windows, though, to when to get aggressive. Sometimes he's not been able to do so, but when he's going to a fight and he's dropped that ultimate, those ultimates have been impactful time and time again. Maybe just one overextension once, and it cost a teammate a life, not him, which is just as bad.
Kiss does hit, Deathbane for the follow-up, last breath,
puts
in some good damage as well, but iceicebaby just when we sang his praises, he does end up falling. Taiko drums now to control Zyrhoes, who turns Serqet and makes it out.
Yeah, well, you remember what we saw when Morrigan was in the SPL for a while? Whenever Serqet was in, we'd get 2 Serqets, and that is time and time again now that Zyrhoes keeps turning into QvoFred Serqet and allowing him to get in and out of danger, and also true damage yet again from that ultimate.
Pyromancer now being looked at. Team RivaL not going to make it here in time for this one either, as Dignitas grab another objective. In fact, might even want the fight on the back end. Collis jumps out, should be safe, but QvoFred still looking for more. Realizes there's 3 there, and he's got it back.
This is a really good game from Dignitas, though. Like, relatively clean in terms of what they're choosing to do and when. Like, they're recognizing the windows when the objectives could be available, and they're coming out on top every single time now. There's nothing really that RivaL have had a window to get back into this so far, I would say. Like, outside of a pick or two here and there was never really anything in the jungle that could go, you know what? We get this off the back of it.
And I really feel like there hasn't been much room for vote yet in these team fights, and that might just be the Jing pick, right? Not going to be quite as relevant early on, but I don't know. I mean, once he's got the Executioner finished, it feels like he should be able to be pretty strong in them, but there hasn't really been room. There's been so much pressure from Trixtank and Arkkyl in lane, or from QvoFred with his ganks. There really hasn't been space for this Jing.
Yeah, once the crit comes online for vote is the big key, and at the moment he's only really got whatever he's put into explosive bolts so far in this game in terms of crit, but once that starts coming through, this critical strike that vote will have on the Jing will make an impact against a very squishy lineup that Dignitas has.
Yes.
Realistically, it should burst some of these characters down, so I like the idea of going crit this game, that's for sure.
Especially if he can catch Zyrhoes, who has finished off his mask. He's only going to need a couple shots there to get a ton of damage in onto this Morrigan. But this is the build that Zyrhoes has liked, right? He wants to do exactly this, sneak up onto the fight, get that burst damage all at once out of stealth, and just remove somebody instantly.
Morrigan, whenever she was first released, everyone was always saying, they always knew she would be the most difficult and yet the best god in the game if you can play it at the level.
Right.
Being able to transform into everything at the given time that you need to, and then recognizing when you're strong and when you're weak is such a tricky task to do with her. But the best players in the world, they can do that time and time again.
And doesn't this feel like that adds that even more? The execution has to be even better now with this build path that we've seen become more popular.
Oh, yeah.
As we saw Wlfy force out, looks like he had to use beads to escape when he jumped over the wall, so he'll be more vulnerable. Same thing for Deathwalker, who has no charge prey for the escape. Last breath is on him, goes into the lurking in the waters, but there's 4 members here. They should be able to clean this up, no problem.
Takes him a while, though, and Deathwalker will live a little bit longer, but what can RivaL do while that is going on? There's 4 members there. When you look at the map, there's only really dual lane that can try and make something happen. They get a bit of a tier 1 tower, but it's not a whole tier 1 tower. Now, the Goon Squad turns up in mid.
This is a great response from Dig to defend the tier 1 in duo and in mid. In fact, Zyrhoes is coming all the way past Collis for Wlfy.
They really want Wlfy bad. They know where the tilt will be. And there goes Wlfy just trying to live as long as he can. Great shell.
Gets up under the Taiko drums. Aegis keeps Zyrhoes alive, but iceicebaby is full on for the chase. They break the stealth and find the kill. But QvoFred finds Wlfy in trade 1-for-1.
iceicebaby, though, on the run, trying to survive as long as he can. Beats now on cooldown. Jukes out around the minions, trying to use them as body blockers more than anything else. Variety's taking on 2 at the same time, but iceicebaby still trying to get away. QvoFred, though, is still a Serqet, and he can chase for days.
Blink is enough to get away. QvoFred tries to follow with the ambush and the death bane, but it's not enough. Extra movement speed helps him get away. 8 minion for the health as well, and iceicebaby makes it out, but Gold Fury now under siege.
And it looks like he should go to dig again. Only Callus here. No ultimate available for Callus. Vote on the way too. But Vote sees QvoFred, which leaves Callus all alone. And Callus falls at the Gold Fury, as does the Gold Fury, the way of Dignitas.
We've said it before, Life of the Party is such a good ultimate when there's really only one target you want to control.
Oh, yeah.
Pulls Callus back in, Arkkyl's there for the autos, Gold Fury secured. That's now a 4,800 gold lead and about 6,000 experience going the way of Dignitas.
Dignitas looking really strong here. Look at the player damage and just take half of that player damage off of Variety. He's played against Sobek in lane, range versus melee, Guardian, who's never going to die, as you can tell, at least in the laning phase. But that's why the player damage is so high. But the top 3 of Dignitas in the player damage, it's all dig, which is kind of scary. When you look down, it's only Baka, and there's a significant drop-off down to where the rest of RivaL are.
And this is why I was pointing out the Hunters, because it's not too often we see them have the kind of impact Arktyl's been able to have this early on. But the fights have been around him. There's been tons of control between Trixtank and Qvo.
Start the game.
And he's just been right there to help out the whole time, doing tons of damage.
Ooh.
And now they're free to go for this Fire Giant 21.5 minutes in.
This is the first moment I saw RivaL really start to collapse on that Fire Giant in panic almost then, when they're like, oh, okay, we're giving them golds, we're giving them pyros, but you ain't having no Fire Giant for free, that's for sure. So the dancer on the Fire Giant is going to be interesting. I expect Dig will just get a pick and go for it again if this continues.
That might have been an interesting time to start it. Ice had no relics available. Neither did Callus, but also there weren't any for Trixtank either. So perhaps a bit of recognition on that relic situation and RivaL's response. Slow down Dignitas a bit. They're not going to force it just yet.
These little stealth maneuvers are so good for just trying to get in and poke on Wlfy.
That's what he's wanted all game long. QvoFred immediately comes in with the last breath. Even with the shield there to help out, QvoFred finds the kill. Callus now has to run away as well. Arkkyl in support with the shots from the sky.
Yeah, I was mentioning the shell earlier on for Wlfy. It wasn't the shell, it was the Book of the Dead that keeps coming up really big for Wlfy in these engagements. Obviously, alongside Book of Toth, it goes off your mana, so you get a nice big shield. Problem being is, though, is still not keeping him alive.
This is the wraparound you want if you're Bakasura. Dignitas get the Pyromancer, but can Iceice find any kills? The answer so far has been no. Arkkyl dueling up against Deathwalker, and it's not enough. Teowa finds the kill, and Iceice gets Qvo 2 so far.
But now Zyrhoes joins the fray again, and already Vote and Callus are half health. As Zyrhoes comes around the corner, claims one, and as Callus is sleeping, turning back into a dwarf, he's going to go down to Zyrhoes for a double kill.
Onto the mid lane mage, the absolute last target you want that to happen to. Now Deathwalker in some trouble. Stun lands, but it's just Trixtank for follow-up so far, so they can't find much more than that. They will have to slow down this Bakasura, though, as Iceice wants the tier 2.
Love what Iceice is doing. He should actually stay in that lane even more so and just try and force that teleport out of Variety, potentially, because he might be able to whittle that down a little bit more, so he shouldn't kill it outright, at least, just because he's going to run out of minions, but he's going to be careful now, because Trix and Variety are flanking around the back.
And that's what they needed. He forced their hand to come over here to the solo side, but now can he escape? Trixtank has the cripple field, has the root, but those don't land, and Dignitas give up. Iceice makes it out.
Yeah, he'll be fine, but now just that extra mobility, keeping him away more than anything else. So, 17-9. Dignitas looking good as we're going to get a quick bit of a pause here.
Looks like we got a pause coming out from Zyrhoes on the side of Team Dignitas. They want to get everything situated here, Graham, but this game so far, I mean, just the player damage charts, I feel like kind of tell the tale of the tape, right? That's 4 members of Dig who are up at the top. There just hasn't been room for damage to come out from RivaL, and I think a lot of that is that they're doing everything it takes to get rid of Wlfy immediately.
I think the biggest thing is that they've had so much issue with the Serqet in the jungle that where she's been everywhere and keeping the pressure on. The relics are being burnt consistently. You're always playing on the back foot a little bit, which means you can never get aggressive because you're always like, well, I want to go aggressive in this situation, but the problem is that my cooldowns are down because I just use them to survive the Serqet, or I've got no relics, so I don't want to be aggressive.
It really has made it difficult, and I talked about the space that's available early on in these fights, and that's really kind of been the problem when you're having to use Thunder Crash defensively, when you're having to play so far back, because not just QvoFred, but Zyrhoes as well. There's a lot of people who, if they catch you out even just a moment, you're instantly dead on the side of Team RivaL. It's so difficult to find that spot to comfortably be in range to put out your damage.
A lot of control on this team as well. You think about the cripple field from Trixtank, but not only that, the stun from Zyrhoes is doing a lot of setup work here. here.
It really is.
And it doesn't take into account, he also empowers the damage done by other characters and himself with some of the abilities he's throwing out there. Not only that, you've still got QvoFred and Variety to talk about. You know, like, there's a lot of control on this team.
The Dignitas have played it perfectly, at least so far. But still, RivaL have held on. It's only about 4,000 gold.
That's RivaL.
The Dignitas are out in front, only about the same inexperience, too. It's not as if Dignitas are so far ahead that RivaL can never answer back. It's just that Dignitas have looked stronger in the fights.
Yeah, completely agree. It's around, what, 700 gold a person advantage at a base level in terms of gold.
Sure.
It's not that big of a thing to have to worry too much about, because it's not half an item. It's like, it's a quarter of an item, a third, I guess, because all our items are generally in 3s.
Right.
In the build path. So you take like a bit of an item, but it will add up. If you get to a little bit further down the field where it's half an item or a whole item, then you're like, okay, we're really struggling now.
Zyrhoes looking for a target. It will be Collis. The route's right there to follow and say goodbye to half of your HP. He will have to consider going back to base, and now Dignitas fully control the space, but QvoFred has to use beads to jump away from Ice.
Yeah, really worried about that cripple field that came out there. A lot of pressure. Zyrhoes now just going to keep hitting the front line.
Oh, my goodness.
And what RivaL really need to do here is get a lot of wards down. Lots of just normal wards everywhere. Keep an eye on these Zyrhoes paths, because he's going to do this over and over and over again.
But it's such a brief window. Charge Praise one of the best tools to punish it. Beads do come out, but Deathwalker is entirely too low, and QvoFred finds the kill. Up into the sky, puts on the scope to Arkkyl, but iceicebaby's the one that finds Qvo.
Oh, Trixtank getting very low as well, though, but Zyrhoes onto a killing spree. Trix finally goes down to Vote, as Vote now goes into Arkkyl.
But he's looking for the man fight. Vote jumps forward, but Arkkyl finds the shot.
That 1-8 was
3
hot.
for 2 in favor of Team Dignitas. Collis has got to jump away. Ice is on the back side of this fight, but Variety sniffs him out. Arkkyl gets the double, and Ice has to retreat.
Yo, that Arkkyl 1-8 was like a bot in FPS, that was. He just tracked him all the way over and went bop in the back of his head. Vote just tried to reposition. And now with 3 members up, Arkkyl, Zyrhoes, and Variety could do the Fire Giant on their own, that's for sure.
Stealth breaks in time. Ice is going to come in for the 1v1. Can't dive underneath the tower. Variety TP's in. Now Ice has to regurgitate, but can't win the trade. Deicide for Team Dignitas. They're going to go to the big time objective, and they've got enough here. Arkkyl, Variety, that can get it done.
All 3 of them, like, between 2 of them could do it, and they've got plenty of time to do so. Only Deathwalker, though, with teleport. Any wards available, one just one behind the Fire Giant.
They do have a couple wards he wants to come in. He will indeed make his way into this fray and try and make this Fire Giant much more complicated. Lurking in the waters comes out. They immediately hold DPS. Deathwalker comes back in so they can't secure it, but he gets pulled back in by the coffin. Another kill for Arkkyl, and Fire Giant should be secured.
It should be, but can they get there in time? I don't think so. The Fire Giant's getting very low. It does go down the way of Dignitas. Wlfy and Vote can only try and catch the remnants of the team, but Qvo's already back there with full health anyway, just in case.
Man, I can't sing the praises of Arkkyl enough in this game for them. Now, this is a hunter's dream game, right? There's been a ton of setup and control for him, but if the shot's in front of you, you absolutely have to hit it. And Arkkyl has done it at every stage for them. 19,000 player damage, 8, 2, and 5. He's been safe. He's been right in range where he needs to be for the damage. I have loved this ROM play from him.
Tell you, that Deathwalker play, though, with the Fire Giant, I think if it was ever so slightly... It's very easy for us to look at the big picture there and go, you should have done this, but I'm going to do it anyway because we get the overall view. It was the target selection. He needed to pick the one who was tanking the Fire Giant more often than not, because I think he could have ended up getting a couple of kills there and actually stopping it. It's just unfortunate in that very split window. I think his decision was pretty solid. He just got unfortunate with the one he plucked. He was really after Variety there, I would say, to try and make sure he took the brunt. Well, he was taking the brunt of the damage already.
He was very, very close to being able to get that, to be able to defend that Fire Giant. And we just heard from our one of our producers that's running the show there that Arkkyl got down to about 3 HP in one point in that fight. I mean, more than
3 health's fine. Yeah,
2 more than
he had 2 spare. That's a massive
He could have
amount.
given 1 away, right? My man was fine.
He could have donated 1 to Deathwalker, still killed Deathwalker, and had 1 left over and went, no problem, bro. I still got the Fire Giant.
Yeah, a very nice win there for Team Dignitas. In that fight, we talked about how close it was going in, right? About 4,000 golden experience that separated them. That's what's really broken this game open. Now Dignitas rather firmly in control with 10,000 gold out the front.
And now it's about RivaL's defense. And I'm looking at RivaL's defense. It's not terrible, in all honesty. They have the control of clearing waves with Wlfy and Vote from pretty decent range. And then they've also got the threat of the pluck or the hammer into pluck combination from Sobek and Fafnir. The only thing is when iceicebaby chooses to go in, he's going to time his windows perfectly.
Yes.
And I like Ice-Ice's positioning at the moment. He's just going to be careful of this rotation to the tier 2. But he wants to sit outside of the base or away from the fight and get in there after it started.
Team Dignitas are going to fall back. They want the Pyromancer. They still have Fire Giant for about another minute and a half. One more tier 2 tower to grab in solo as well, but they got to go back and spend all this gold. They don't have a ton here. Assassin's Blessing can still be sold, Guardians as well. So they do have some room to put in here, but
that's disgusting.
It's mostly pots at this point, it feels like.
Oh, Kivo just made me vomit in my own mouth. He just picked up a whole mantle of Discord and still has a... He had nothing in that last item. He got a whole mantle of Discord and still has 1,000 gold left over.
He's doing good.
Oof.
Feeling comfortable.
I bet he is now, because now we can dive this Phoenix a little bit more too. Obviously, with that mantle of Discord, if they're all in range, there's going to end up getting stunned in place, and he's going to be jumping all over them time and time again anyway.
Sprit's committed. They really wanted iceicebaby there, but couldn't find him. But that is another 130 seconds. They won't have that relic in a team fight. That can be nice to have, especially upgraded with that haste effect.
Yeah, you're right, especially if they're just chasing down their positions. Not upgraded just yet, though. Do like the fact that it's an upgraded shell for both the supports so far, specifically for Dignitas, because it's actually going to prevent some of those auto attacks that Bakasura's going to throw out with those Muncher Blades anyway, which definitely makes an impact there. Whereas Callus, his is going to be useful against Serqet because she can't proc her poisons as easy.
That's right, they'll have that available for RivaL on this defense, and what a defense is going to have to be to get away from Team Dignitas. But think about it, it might be a little bit harder for Zyrhoes to find those big explosive stuns right at the start of the fights, or QvoFred might have to be a little bit more patient. How do you feel about the siege from Dig?
I'm not too worried. Well, I am in a little sense, I'm going to say, because like I'm not carrying RivaL out here because it's RivaL and they're very good at turtling and surviving in games that should be dead and over. At the same time as Dignitas have been known before to have a couple of issues with ending games, let's say.
Sure.
They passed that on to their energy cousins just recently. But in this one specifically, their dive is a little bit lackluster. They can't use Zyrhoes as easy as they would like to stealth in and set up the initial CC stun. It may have to be Trixtank or QvoFred having to be the initiators a little bit more so here, instead to cover that option.
That's going to be the call here for Dignitas. What is going to be their initiation method as they try and break into this Phoenix? Looks like we have one more pause coming out. We're going to get everyone situated and back into this game. But that's going to be the idea, right? What's going to be that big tool that breaks them back here into the base? Because even Artio, I mean, how strong is her initiation into this defense like this as well? I mean, what is their big tool?
I'm kind of looking at Kivo just to blink to the back line, pick a carry, and then make RivaL turn around to protect that carry.
Right.
And that just opens the floodgates for the rest of Dignitas to go for. I think that's the best window. Or play the poke game. They have Sustain and Fire Giant potentially if they get the Fire Giant. Then they've got Baron just to keep poking and sustaining them up. And then on the front side of that, you've also still got that Artio that can help out with that too.
And if you're RivaL, do you want to even defend this Fire Giant here? I mean, they're down a lot of gold, but we're 31.5 minutes in. There's not a ton of big item gaps here. Still one more item for Wlfy, one more item for Callus there, so maybe they could come out and fight it.
You've not won a single trade in the jungle, in my eyes, like
That's
objectively
fair.
through the whole game. You got one goal for you at the start, but outside of that, what else have you got? You might as well just lick your wounds and sit at the Phoenix going, hey, we have a really good composition for defending the Phoenix, and their engagement should be relatively telegraphed.
Yeah, I agree with you. And look at this. This is what Dignitas want. They want this fight in the jungle where QvoFred and Zyrhoes can kind of wrap around to the back side of the fights and get a little bit lost and catch someone off guard. They're instead going to have to settle for the Fire Giant and getting this done the old-fashioned way by breaking down the front door of Team RivaL. They have that dual lane pushed out quite far at this point. Even the mid lane pushed up a bit. But they've sent out Variety to try and get those pushed up so they can be ready with some minions for the siege.
Speaking about it too, I actually think that Dignitas should probably look at a bit of split push here. I don't think it's worthwhile the whole 5 group up at one Phoenix at all. I'd rather see maybe QvoFred off in a different lane, or even, to be fair, a better person for that would be Zyrhoes almost, because he can stealth all the way over and get lost in the void basically where they're all panicking about where he could or could not be. I think split push is definitely the right option of split it up to at least 2 lanes. Just so you don't have to try and force a 5-on-5, which we've already discussed could be problematic.
I think that's what we'll do. We've seen Zyrhoes here when we see him play, try and get the 1v1 away from the rest of the team and kind of just try and lull that person to sleep. He'll stealth and go out, but then come right back, stealth and go out, and then when they step a little bit too far forward, look for the stun and just delete them by himself.
I actually don't mind the idea of Zyrhoes being up on his own because you're looking at who RivaL could send to defend against it, and Sobek's one of them. But Sobek not being available at the Phoenix defense on the other side, if it's a 4-1 split, is definitely more impactful because he's not got that pluck potential to set up his team. So keeping that out of the fight could be pretty useful. It's definitely a game of who defends in which lane against whom based off what Dig are doing. Dig at the moment, just push up all the waves.
And it looks like right now they're split up 3 ways. They've got Zyrhoes all the way in solo, QvoFred pushing up mid, and then 3 members stacked in duo. And right now, RivaL aren't perfectly split up to defend against this. Arkkyl is going to get huge shots on the Phoenix already. Collis jumps in to defend, but that's half the Phoenix health already down.
Yeah, it was nice and quick too, and it didn't even require QvoFred or Zyrhoes to be there either. Keeping backer isolated is good, keeping it in tow. But this poke is just becoming a little bit too much now, because every single time that happens, Variety's resustaining his team too, and just continue to poke down the health bars of RivaL, wait for this next wave to come in.
And right now, no one's watching middle lane. Wlfy is the one they're going to send over to try and defend. He has the Mad Guy's cloak, but they're expertly keeping them split up. Deathwalker goes in for the engage, and Trixtank will get knocked up. Wlfy comes back over to defend, but again, Dignitas fall back and heal.
But that's the play. If Wlfy shows mid having to clear, then RivaL need to get aggressive in that 3-on-3 on the left to keep them off the Phoenix. And then as soon as that wave's clear, Wlfy comes back, pokes some poke, goes back to mid, clears the wave again.
But these waves are a little bit off sync. Wlfy can come over and defend mid-wave and get back over in time for the engage. Collis jumps in. Draconic Corruption forces them off. No stun comes out from the life of the party either, but Deathwalker's low and has to fall back. Morrigan all alone on the right-hand side because even iceicebaby rotated in, so this is good Phoenix damage.
Notice that the Phoenixes are all still standing, but RivaL are getting poked out and using ultimates. Callus is now on cooldown. Deathwalker's on cooldown, which means this left-hand side is a bit trickier to defend now, as the Fire Giant is still on them for quite a few more minutes.
Zyrhoes, though, in danger, getting soloed. iceicebaby with Regurgitate finds the kill, and Zyrhoes does eventually get punished for the one-on-one.
Really important play, and immediately look at Dignitas, turning tail on the left-hand side. They can't keep this going any longer. Kivo would love to try and backdoor that Phoenix in the right if he could, but he's got no minions. And especially with Iceice pushing out this wave and right. That's pressure relieved now. RivaL did the duty that was required of him. Great play from RivaL.
And that's what's so important. You got to win that 1v1 if Zyrhoes is going to play that way. And it works for them because it looked like a heavy commitment when Collis jumps in and Iceice starts to rotate, but he can't get the whole Phoenix, and now they're taking the fight in the jungle.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward play. This is all for a red buff more than anything else, but Boat feels confident as does Callus and Wlfy, but QvoFred is coming round the back.
Wlfy gets good damage on the Arkkyl, who's been free casting, but can't stand in the 1v1. He takes down Wlfy first, goes up for the shots on the boat, has Aegis ticking, but Variety finds him as well. Deathwalker now in some trouble, but Arkkyl unchecked in the team fight. Double kill for the Hunter for Team Dignitas, and they're ready to re-push in. Roll out looking for Iceice. Cobra's Kiss can't land, and Iceice makes it out.
So that's going to be a Phoenix, at least in the mid lane. I'm not sure if they can definitely end off that, but it looks pretty solid that they might be able to. Zyrhoes just respawned. I'd take a Phoenix here, boys, maybe two. Going for the game end. A little bit risky, but, you know, they know better than me.
They're certainly contemplating it, but they're not going to go all in. Phoenix on right side is low, and Team Dignitas are going to rotate for that one. iceicebaby and Collis can't really walk in to defend either. No blink for the engage. You're going to do it the old-fashioned way with the jump hammer, but right, Phoenix falls.
And that's the game really broken up now, because Dignitas really can start to abuse the advantage. One Phoenix falls, Finch, it's pretty solid for them.
Yeah.
Two down, it's even better, because you can have Zyrhoes then just wander around freely in stealth, or Serqet in that middle or right area and rotate all the way around the back of the left-hand Phoenix. This is a tough ask for RivaL now.
And if we go back to that fight that RivaL take in the jungle and watch it back, you can draw a circle around Arkkyl where no one is within that range of him. He was able to just freely cast on the backside, untouched essentially. That really ends up hurting them. He does a great job using the ultimate to get up out of combat as well and return fire. It's curious that RivaL took that fight at all, really.
It's really funny to see Dignitas bouncing back after how Spring went for them, and then Summer too, with not making land in Summer, and then, you know, Spring, they did really well for themselves. He just fell at the final hurdle against RivaL themselves. Almost reminiscent to previous year's Dig, may I say, where everyone had high hopes of them being world champions, and they never made the land. But this is the Dig of old again, coming back with a vengeance.
They definitely are looking strong here, but even as strong as they've looked, we're approaching 40 minutes nearly, and RivaL are still holding them in check, still not letting them into the base just yet. This fight here in the jungle could go their way. Zyrhoes finds a little bit of damage, but not much onto Collis, and they're going to wait on this fire jump.
I think RivaL need 2 wins in fights. Now, even if they de-side Dignitas in this fight, I don't think they can end the game right now, in all honesty. I think it'll take them 2 fights to break the base of Dignitas, and they've still got fire minions to deal with in mid at the moment, as now Dig start this Fire Giant.
Variety and Zyrhoes on zoning duty. Arkkyl and Trixtank give up on the FG. Charge freight down from Deathwalker. Cobra's Kiss, last breath. Pin Deathwalker up against the wall, so he has to retreat. Team Dignitas have used some ultimates, but baited in Deathwalker.
Yeah, Deathwalker blinking and plucking there. I like the little blink cheeky play, but he was just off the mark with a pluck. And the rest of his team, I don't think, realized that was going on, because they were in a position to help out. In the end, it cost him his ult too, and Iceice on the run.
Drops Regurgitate at his feet, but Ice goes right, or rather Zyrhoes goes right into the
want
Serqet.
one ult?
He
How
does
about
find some eaten minion, but Arkyl's there with the shots to put him down as well.
QvoFred using his ult nicely there alongside Zyrhoes, so both Serqet ults used on different targets, but still made an impact. Zyrhoes on this.
He's playing it so well.
This is where Morrigan really shines in the late game stages, where she can stealth for half an hour and then two-shot you.
And it's the transformations into the Serqet that are really strong
Yep.
to just get him away from the Bakasura damage, right? He can
yeah.
kind of ride along and not have to worry about getting hit by all those shots just long enough for the rest of the team to show up and bail him out.
This is a really good game one from Dignitas, but I'm looking at what RivaL technically could have done different. I think there was times where they bit off more than they could chew. They got a couple of kills, but after that they went for objectives that cost it and fell back, or they hung around trying to chase down kills to answer kills earlier on, and that put them in a worse spot overall. That's where the swings really happened in this game, in all honesty.
Fire Giant one more time is there for all of Team Dignitas. They've buckled the belt that Fire Giant provides around all 5 of them. They're ready for the Phoenix on the left-hand side. Mid and right Phoenixes, though, should be respawning before too long. They'll be in that weakened state, so not too difficult to bring down. But they want this fresh Phoenix on the left-hand side, and that's where they're barreling.
And that's why Serqet's in mid lane. QvoFred's just going to keep these fire minions pushing on up, because it's going to take 2 people to defend these waves at the same time. And then you've still got 3 members of Dignitas, or 4 I should say, pressure in this left-hand side Phoenix.
Looks like Deathwalker just changed over to the Spirit Robe. That might help out just a little bit in this defense if he gets hit by some control, but Dignitas still playing this very patiently as mid Phoenix just goes down to Qvo.
And the right one will surely follow soon after. Qvo could just go there if he wants to, but he might just focus on the mid lane. Trix put in though!
And Arkkyl blows up Deathwalker, unstoppable on a 7-killing streak
Swinging.
at this point in. 5v4, Phoenix on the left-hand side is weak, but QvoFred's unchecked. He's not even in the fight. They're winning this 4-on-4. Ice blinks in with the Regurgitate. Trixtank gets the target, but life of the party pulls everybody back in. There's nowhere to go.
Wlfy though takes out Arkkyl.
That's
Trixtank
huge.
getting low too. There's a crit. Meanwhile, Qvo on the back though. The poison spreading. This could be a quadra.
Zyrhoes finds a kill. Wlfy now stuck in between 3 and can't find another one. QvoFred with the double variety finds another one. Deicide for Dignitas. No need to worry about Phoenix is here. The Titan's already under siege. Dignitas gonna be able to take game 1 over RivaL.
And when you look back at that game, Finch, and you look towards the end, it looked great from RivaL on the defense. The only difference
It did
was
look good.
it was a 4v5. And the moment it became a 5v5, or technically a 3v5 at that point, because most members of Dig were dead, the Serqet poisons came through.
And that is what was really impressive about that fight, right? It initially started really without QvoFred in there at all. He was just kind of pushing up middle lane, and they were able to get that initial kill onto Deathwalker. So even with Arkkyl dying, which he kind of ended up being the target for them, QvoFred was able to just kind of waltz in on the backside.
They used relics, they used ultimates to get to Arkkyl, who was making a big impact in the game.
was
He saw his player damage over 30,000 in that. If he's doing that much damage and you focus on him, Serqet, Qvo just sat in mid and went, oh, his back is ult down? I guess I'll get involved now. And that's exactly what happened.
Able to go in and very nicely find that win, but it did look for like maybe 3 seconds in that fight. I was holding my breath, like, is this where the throw happens? Jing Wei's finding some nice shots from VOD. Is this it? But no, Dignitas hold on. They're able to turn that one around, and really it felt like the whole game they were in control, but it took 43 minutes. RivaL really slowed them down.
They did slow them down, and that's credit to RivaL being the team that they are. They just need to go back to the drawing board. There'll be a lot of things that Alpha Jackal will be looking over at game 1 with them going, hey, why do we do this? Like, we did this and then they got that and that? Like, these were just bad decisions that shouldn't have happened.
Got some adjustments to make for game 2, but before we get to that, who in game 1 was your MVP? Go ahead and vote for me in the Mixer polls. I'm obviously feeling Arkkyl a little bit after that game, but who was the one setting him up for it? QvoFred had some excellent plays. You can't discount Trixtank. Zyrhoes
He
as
was
well.
setting up all the time too. Arkkyl got the player damage though. It's one of the obvious ones to go for. That's what fans like anyway. Damage.
I definitely like that player damage, but Hindi Man's a support, you know? He likes all those small plays you don't notice, right?
There was no good support plays that game.
Trixtank wasn't getting it done for you on the RDO?
Not enough for an MVP.
Sure. Give it over to Arkkyl then. Listen to Finch here giving you all the directions. Apparently all it is my emissary is voting for me. Great word I just used. I'm going to put that in our Scrabble game later on, but let's get it back over to the desk to break down what happened in game 1.
He says emissary now, but he's putting money in my commissary. Tom and Anatoly breaking this one down, and as we take a look at that 45-minute slugfest, I mean, whoo, first of all. Second of all, Dignitas back to form, looking pretty damn good here, Toly.
Still undefeated, really showing off their stuff against RivaL. One of their arch nemesis is honestly that they kind of struggled against at the spring land, but now able to at least find the first victory. They still have to go through one more game. I think a lot of it has to come to picks and bans. Getting the Baron in the first game because they were first pick allows them so much flexibility with the Baron's brew for everyone. They had all 5 members pick up that consumable as it's so cost effective towards the late game. And then just in the right hands, Variety with the Gem of Isolation was able to control so many team fights with all that CDR on top of it.
Yeah, you can look at Arkyl's player damage, 37-1. You heard a lot of high praise given to him from the guys Finch, most notably. Handyman was there for the ride. But the other players really were interesting. I enjoyed what Zyrhoes and QvoFred were doing. Variety, hiccups. Variety had a fantastic early game, but the fans do vote the way of the Rama player, and Arkkyl is your MVP.
Going 12-3-8 is no easy task whatsoever. Going for a little bit over 5 total, KDA was able to really make it happen. And that's why they drafted this ROM, because they knew that QvoFred playing the Serqet with Morrigan on Zyrhoes would be able to carry the early games to allow this flexibility. Keep in mind that RivaL's draft after the Baron was immediately the Sobek and Jing Wei. So fighting fire with fire, the ROM out of Arkkyl just out-carried vote on the Jing Wei.
What I really like about Arkkyl in his position on Team Dignitas is that he very rarely has to do anything besides play Hunter. And that seems like a really basic statement, but you'd be surprised how many players have additional things to do. Whether it's be the team fight player and you see the Medusas picked up, whether it's be the crowd control guy and then you start to see the Ho Yis and some of the other Ulers, for example, be able to be taken. When it comes down to Dig, they choose Ram 8 times out of 10 because all he does is Hunter. All he does is fire basic attacks, and Arkkyl has the luxury of having the teammates around him that he doesn't really have to give a damn about anything else. He just left clicks.